antlers, assumptions, and artillery. Looks like someone's getting famous, Holly teases as some girls snap a picture of him. It's the sleeveless shirt, I'm sure, Bjorn remarks as he flexes the muscles in his left arm to make his brand dance. The fact that several more pictures are taken lends credence to his theory. Well, maybe you should put the jacket back on rather than have it tied around the waist, Holly says, and he shrugs before draping it over his shoulder. You know what I mean, you enormous goofball. I do, he confirms with a smile. He also does not put the jacket on properly. Put it on, she says, and he chuckles before putting the jacket back on properly. So how do you think the next mess of memes and images about me are about to turn out? Bjorn asks in amusement, and Holly thinks before grabbing him under the shoulder. Amusingly, she says before hefting him up and holding him well above her antlers. She continues to walk as more pictures are taken, and then a bit of shifting around has her literally holding his feet up to basically walk with them, stacked too high. What the? Why are you doing that? A Canador emerging from a butcher shop asks when she finds that there's a human at eye level. Mostly to mess with the people that are meme happy, Bjorn answers, and the Canador considers before shaking her head. Humans, crazy to the core. And what, Canadors are boring and tame or something? Holly replies, and the Canador looks down before looking back to Bjorn and then back down to Holly. Whole stack of crazy. Got it, she remarks, and Holly laughs even as Bjorn hops backwards and lands with ease. Really, what was that supposed to accomplish? If you can't be silly with your man, are you really comfy with him? Holly asks, and the Canador considers. Depends on the man. She answers after a while and then moving on. I need to get dinner ready soon anyways. Well, that's that, Bjorn remarks before suddenly frowning. What's wrong? Holly asks, and he points at the now closed door to the butcher shop. There is a tiny mark near the top. Wait, didn't you spot something like that shortly after we moved to this planet? I did. Nothing came up related to it, so I forgot about it. Something distract you? Holly asks. Someone distracted me. Bjorn teases with a poke in her side. Glad to know I can get your attention so easily, she says, and he chuckles. Want to look into it? As your bodyguard, I can't, but I can, Holly says before looking up towards the door, and a distortion of the air in front of her zooms into the marking. It's a small crescent facing the right with the topmost bit going up off the frame. A crescent can mean any number of things. Heavenly bodies like moons and planets can look like that when under a planet's shadow, Bjorn says. Also some surgical scars, Holly says. Or puncture scars. Right, Bjorn says as he has his communicator out and sending out a request for information on any local groups that prominently use a crescent in their imagery. 83,422 different groups use a crescent in their symbology on this hemisphere alone. What about ones in this arcology? Holly asks. 283, he answers. How many of them are criminal? She asks as she cannot remember anything with a crescent design about 43 suspected criminal organizations in this arcology. Most of the legal things are stuff like products that use languages that have crescents as a prevalent shape in them. Apuk products, for example. So many criminal organizations? Holly asks, pushing aside the bit about most of them being due to languages as irrelevant. It looks like a lot of them are branches of small-time gangs trying to reach out. With how easy it is to get around, I'll wager they have tiny toeholds in hundreds of arcologies, even if they only have a real presence in one or two. And the ones that have an actual presence that use a crescent, and why didn't you just start with those ones? I'm being given a bit of a runaround by a man who I'm going to at the least flick in the ear if I don't smack him in the side of the head, Bjorn notes. There are 3 gangs that use crescents, who are apparently part of a former gang where there was some kind of succession crisis when its last head died, and 3 different groups declared themselves in charge. None are actually based here, but the last generation of the gang had a powerful presence in this arcology. I see, so what's the older group called? The Stung. Apparently the crescent is an Andia stinger, so it was founded by the bipedal scorpion women. I've seen a few of them before. They talk fast. Despite the powerful claws and stinger tail, they're apparently natural linguists, Bjorn says. Anyways, the first gang broke up about 5 years ago, and there's been blood on the streets in numerous arcologies since. They've mostly moved out of this one and are concentrating on the territory they've carved out. So the markings are old? Holly asks in a disappointed tone. Careful. I think you may have gotten a little addicted to excitement, Bjorn warns her. Well, at least it's not a literal drug like it is with you humans. I mean, really. Adrenaline? Don't think I don't know you're getting a runner's high during the workout. Holly chides him. What can I say? I'm hooked, he answers. It's not a good thing. She chides him. Not in excess, but in this case it is. Bjorn says, Is that why you don't have the enhancement tattoos for that? I've heard you refusing them. It is. The focus to keep them from slowing time when I hit the runner's high is something I don't want to deal with. Why not? Not everything is for every soldier. I can manually pump the adrenaline with Axiom and get the same effect, but it just happening every time I work out is, well, annoying, he says. So if I wasn't such a gym girl, you'd have it? She asks. Probably. By the way, why is the main protection a brand and not a tattoo? The tattoos work and don't cause torture levels of pain, but you go for it each time there's a new iteration. Well, most of it goes over my head, but apparently you can fit a lot more things into a brand. The tattoos do at most about 5 things. The brand can do dozens. If I was to get the same effect as my brand, which is the size of my palm on my shoulder, it would mean my entire left arm would be covered in tattoos. And if the brand gets more advanced, then I might run out of room. It would already cover my entire shoulder and everything down to the wrist at this point. Oh, I see, Holly says with a faraway look in her eyes. Bjorn sighs. You're picturing me with my arms covered in tattoos, aren't you? Mama likes. I'm not sure Martha would like me covered in tattoos. Bjorn jokes and Holly huffs before giving him a smile. So, are there more tattoos you can get? No. I can already force myself to perform in the bedroom on a level where an entire army of porn stars would tell me to take it easy. What more do you want? Some cute drawings? She asks and he rolls his eyes. Okay, we can practice with markers then. He says, Really? Keep it off my hands, neck and face, and it should be fine. He says and she considers. All right, let's get some, she says, and they're on their way. By the time the girls text them to return, Holly is tracing out a tribal pattern on Bjorn's left arm that is being projected holographically by her communicator hovering over his arm thanks to her antlers channeling Axiom with ease. Bjorn uses his right to see the text and he looks over as Holly is filling in the design of a shark as she's copying from off a video game. And we just got started, she says, and he chuckles even as she backs away from his arm. I'd be at least halfway done if we didn't have to look through 8 different stores for proper markers. Maybe Tritite stores shouldn't have been the first place we look for high-quality markers, he remarks as he looks at the Far Cry-style tattoo and snorts. From the looks of it, he's maybe 2 hours into the game. She only got the base down and a few animal designs. 1 spider, 2 sharks, and a pair of herons. So what do you think they've crammed Snarlmane into? Gown? Something slinky or something tight and skimpy? Well, Canadors naturally have longer fur like you, so something tight to emphasize her body is on the table. I think we're going to see a boa somewhere. It gives off the ritzy, lush look and can be stacked onto a lot of outfits. Holly muses even as they approach the boutique. They knock on the door and there's a cheerful Irma who opens it. Come on in, she's looking great, Irma says, and Holly is in first and she lets out a low whistle of awe even as Bjorn follows her in. His eyebrows go up as he sees her. Snarlmane is resplendent in a shimmering dark gown that has the slightest hint of green in it as it shines and looks like she's wearing part of the night sky itself. Her fur shimmers like polished metal, and the slight coloration around her eyes shows emphasis on her sultry gaze. There's a sway that shows hips moving in her stride. Her counter movement emphasizes just how well endowed she is to put her stride in a balance of sheer sensuality. Holly called it with a shimmering white boa breaking the darker pattern of her appearance and also contrasting the bright red of her fur. Her darker mane is like a spiraling shower of dark red gold, and her lips twerk up in a smile. Well, for a man as clearly well taken care of as you to be at a loss for words, I dare say that my money has been very well spent, Snarlmane states smugly. Miss the voice, Vera protests and Snarlmane grins before taking a breath. Well, she begins with her voice sounding like velvet smooth chocolate. If a well-loved and well-married man is reacting like this, Snarlmane then picks up her purse and brings out a card. I think a bonus is in store. The woman pays full price and a half and sways out of the room with Holly standing between her and Bjorn the whole time and covering his eyes to the immense amusement of the Canador. She sways out, and there's a deep purring following her as she goes. Another satisfied customer, and likely one that will pass things on with word of mouth, Irma says as she tallies things up. The card went through. We've made a lot this time. Any protest to getting some ads out? There are none, so Irma goes back to her computer and quickly types out several things and begins uploading a prepared advertisement. And we're going. We'll get some more customers soon. Good now. Vera begins even as Holly takes off Bjorn's jacket and brings up her communicator again to continue her work. What the? Who wants to draw on our man? Holly asks in amusement as she holds up several more markers and the images of the tattoo from the game is projected onto Bjorn's massive arm. Does that come off? If I don't scrub a week at most, if I do, it'll be a couple days, Bjorn says, and that's all Lils needs to hear to grab a marker from Holly and immediately start doing all the dots up and down the design. I call dibs on the sharks, Sally says, and Vera laughs as Irma just stares before rolling her eyes and going back to buying the advertisement time and posting it. Is this going to be a thing? Irma asks Mawasasi as she finishes up and then closes the computer. Maybe. The only rules is nothing on the hands, neck, or head, including face. Okay. Does this mean that the crotch is fair game? Irma cannot stop herself from asking. Let's wait until we're someplace where we don't have to be respectable first, Bjorn replies, and Irma pauses. Girls, we're going home, and I won't hear anything else about this, Irma declares, and there's a gale of laughter in response.